Frame perfect. Let's go. And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 3 of the Yap House Podcast, hosted by me, Charles Fleischer. I am very, very excited to be doing this episode today with you guys. Let's just start with how my week went. Another kind of boring week, to be honest with you. Just kind of stayed home, took a bunch of walks, just tried my best to stay in shape. As much as I can, and kind of playing with the products I got from the TikTok shop. So that's pretty fun, including the bubble gun I have, the Galaxy projector, and also I do have a large haul coming from Temu and Shein. Yeah, I know. I bought a bunch of clothes like shirts and shorts. So you guys are gonna see a haul of that very, very soon, and I got some really cool looking clothing. Yeah. So anyway, make sure you guys drop a like and subscribe. And reminder, new episodes every Sunday evening. And yeah. I want to talk a little bit about sports media because sports in the media because like obviously I am a huge media and social media guy. As you can see right now, I'm trying to become like a little social media influencer a little bit. Shout out to Mallory Urban, who's been kind of helping me a little bit. But as you guys know, I was a sports reporter for the past like year and a half at LSU, and that experience, really really helped me a lot. It'll like prepare me for like any upcoming opportunities that I have for other, sports media, social media jobs. Obviously, like my dream is to be a sportscaster and or like sportscaster for the big sports networks like ESPN, Fox, CBS, even NBC. I'll gladly take that. And my biggest dream is to like call a championship game or series. So I'm just continuing to work for it and continuing to look for jobs related to broadcasting. But I think the reason why I love sports media so much is because it gives a really unique perspective on sports. Like when you work in sports media, you have views that nobody else in the world sees, and that's why I love it so much. Like when I did my sports reporter job, I got to cover sports like football, baseball, basketball, softball, gymnastics. I got to film them and make stories out of them. For football, I got to sit on the field behind the end zones and film the LSU Arkansas game last year. So that was a lot of fun. That was like one of the best experiences of my life. For basketball, I get to sit on the court and film the game. It's a lot of fun. Those games can get intense. I do have a clip of me getting trampled by a Texas A&M player one day, so that's definitely a highlight. Gymnastics are also held in our basketball stadium. I'm obviously down at floor level 2, and I just watch the girls, flip around and do whatever. And then for baseball and softball, we're given a spot along the third base line to film. But after every game, we go to the interviews or the pressers and make a story out of the event. And what I try to do with my stories is that I don't try to make it a game wrap. That's what my boss has taught me, is that don't do just a game wrap. If anything interesting happened, make a story out of that. Like if a player hit 3 home runs in a game, or an unsung hero dropped a 30 piece or something like that, make a story out of that. But I'm not going to be doing the sports reporter job anymore now, because I'm obviously going to look for more jobs related to this. But I still have the experience from it, and I still have all those stories I made for future resumes. So it's not really that big of a deal that I'm not working for them anymore. I think it'll just give me an opportunity to, look for more, seek something else I will really, really enjoy. I think what makes digital media unique is that it's like completely changed sports media, and how, and like journalism, public relations, communications, and it's like how the entire social media industry in general works, because it's so much easier to share stories with people around the world. So like all those stories I made as a sports reporter I can use for, future resumes and stuff like that. You obviously have all those sports video games like 2K, Madden, and others. NCAA Football 25 is coming out soon, and it's going absolutely viral amongst the fans. I think I only played one sports video game, and it was this like really old NHL 2K video game back when I was like really really young. And so yeah, I didn't play many of those games because I didn't really have time for them. But obviously, I know that tournaments are run of those games worldwide for money and stuff like that, and the athletes, they love it. They love those games as well. I've seen a lot of clips of players going off on those games. It's pretty cool. And like I said before, it gives us a really unique perspective of the sport. Like the developers do a phenomenal job of providing simulations as well as possible, and esports is making a lot of money of it, a lot of money from it. So obviously, I'm continuing to look for jobs in sports journalism. I, had one already, and I think one of the biggest perks about being in sports journalism and the media, and or even just working in the sports industry in general, is you get to form relations with the athletes, which I think is really cool. Like I was fortunate enough to meet some big LSU names like Mason Taylor, Haley Bryant, Tommy Tanks, even Olivia Dunn, and just so many more. It's just really a fun time, and you really get to form like really close relations with these athletes. I mean, obviously, I would like to talk to them a lot more than we do right now, but at the same time, you can't really bother them because they're trying to win a championship, and I want them to win championships. Oftentimes the media will promote sports and events like it's fascinating and like it's a huge preview of the game or something like that to or to like a preview to watch this athlete. It gets the fans engaged, but a big thing is that there's also like negativity on the internet. People just don't know what they're doing and stuff like that. And you just have to avoid these people, when they're like talking shit on the internet. And sometimes you'll have media people who will be like assholes. Like people have told me, like when you get into this sports industry, you sometimes will not meet the nicest people. So I think for me, it's going to be really important that I really focus on myself with this job, not care about anybody else what they do. Do not get jealous. I tend to get jealous sometimes. Gotta stop that. Because this industry is one of the most competitive industries in the world because it's like not a lot of people get the jobs they actually want. So it's like and that's just the narrative of the whole thing. It's like a whole life process of like where you want to go with your job. And for me, like I'm obviously jobless right now, but I'm going to continue to keep searching, and hopefully I'll end up with something I enjoy, which is something related to broadcasting. Oh my gosh, guys, somebody told me to react to the Kendrick versus Drake beef, and honestly, it's literally the dumbest shit I've ever seen. Like I don't know why. I don't know why it started. I don't know how it started. I know the first line which kind of started all this was like fuck sneak this in first person shooter. I hope it came with 3 switches, and it just sparked that from there. But I really think they're just doing this for attention. To be honest with you, like this is the dumbest beef I have ever seen in my life, and I really don't know why it started. And yeah, I mean, I don't even know what else to say. Okay, I wrote down fashion here because I feel like the way I dress sometimes, I feel like, I mean, obviously it's really funny that I still dress like a middle schooler, but I really really enjoy it. I think it's really really comfortable, and it just suits me. But one of the reasons why I have this on here is because oftentimes when I'm at the bar, somebody would pull down my sock, and I don't know why, but I would just say to that, if you don't like crew socks, that's a you problem, not me. And I was even told by one of my friends that it's more attractive when your socks are all the way down, which is just absolute nonsense. That's I feel like that's criticizing someone's style. I don't like ankle socks. I just don't think they're comfortable on me. I mean, I've tried them on before and I just don't think they're comfortable. Obviously, my shoes, touch my feet, and I don't really like that. So I go with the crew socks, and the crew socks are a lot more comfortable. And for those that don't like the crew socks, you're just gonna have to deal with it. And if you can't deal with it, you're criticizing someone's style. But obviously, like a lot of the clothing I wear, I mean, this is a shirt I normally wear to like the gym because it's like polyester and just a pair of shorts that I have. I have a lot of different color shorts too. I have two LSU shorts, and I have like blue, red, gray, green. I have like a bunch. I even have a yellow one too. I have a lot of different color shorts, and I can do like a t-shirt collection that I have soon. I have a bunch of LSU shirts. I have some LSU gymnastics shirts. I have two 2023 baseball national championship shirts. I have and yeah, I have some Devil shirts, two Knicks shirts. Yeah, I'll do like a t-shirt collection very soon. But like I said before, I do have a haul. I do have a huge haul on the way, so I feel like that'll like change my summer looks a little bit. So we'll see. Oh, and another thing with like formals and stuff like that. So you know how like all those fraternities and sororities have like the formal events and stuff like that, and you'll have other clubs that'll have like formal events too. I don't think I've seen a single person not in a different color suit or a tuxedo other than like black or navy blue or something like that. I understand that's the style. I'm going to tell you what my style is and what my favorite is, and it's a white. It's a white tuxedo and suit because I had that for this little formal event we had in our senior year of high school. It wasn't prom. It was like 4 months before prom. It was our tux show, and I had a white tuxedo on, and I just thought it looked absolutely incredible. I just thought it looked absolutely incredible, and that's how I came to be that white is my favorite color of formal dressing. And for prom, I don't know if you guys remember, but I had a purple suit. I had a purple suit with a yellow bow tie to represent LSU. I obviously like can't compare myself to anyone else. So you got to go with something different, compared to everyone. But for the next like formal event I'm gonna go to, it's definitely like a white suit or white tuxedo because that shit is just cold. Oh yeah, so last episode I said that I was gonna talk a little bit about camp and my camp experiences that I've had over the summer. So this summer I am working at another one of the day camps that I went to when I was a little kid. As a little kid, I liked it a lot. It was just like this wide open space where we did like a bunch of activities and stuff like that. I'm going to be a counselor there. Orientation is this week. So to be honest with you, I don't really know what it's going to be about, like who my group is and stuff like that. But I can tell you about my camp experiences, and let's start with the day camp that I went to when I was younger. So this day camp, which is like 5 minutes away from me, which is very very close. I went there when I was like maybe 3 years old. No, was it? Yeah, it was around like 4 years old until 9 years old, and I loved. It. It took me a little while to get used to it. I don't think I really enjoyed it that much in my first year, but I came to like it more and more and more as I went along. I don't really have like any crazy memories from that because obviously I was just so little at that time, and it was hard to remember. It's hard to remember stuff when you're that young. But then I decided to work there over this past summer as a counselor. So I obviously applied, and I went to orientation, and I requested, hey, can I be with the older kids because I feel like that'll suit me a lot more, and I can like teach them ways about life more and stuff like that. It didn't work out that well because for when I saw what group I got put with, I was kind of devastated. I got put with 4-year-olds. Yeah, 4-year-olds, and that was what I had to deal with for 7 weeks. Now, to summarize it, thank God those 4-year-olds were really cute, really sweet, and most of them got along really well because I don't think I would have survived all those 7 weeks if those kids did not get along decently well. The challenges that came with it were I had also questions about who my co-counselors were as well. One of them was an elderly, which I thought I didn't think it would be elderly. I mean, no disrespect to her. She was absolutely incredible, which kind of yelled at them a lot, but she was incredible. But I just didn't think it would happen that way. I mean, thank God it turned out well. There was this other girl who was still in high school. She was really, really good as well. She was really sweet, and I got to know her a good bit. And then my other co, and this is where the problems came in. My other co was a person that I absolutely despised in elementary school, and I still despise today. I couldn't believe I saw that person in orientation, and I couldn't believe like I got put with that person in my group. It was just like that's just the worst luck possible. So that was what I had to deal with for 7 weeks, and luckily I was able to battle through it. That really, really tested my mentality to see where I can go in the future, because that was a tough, tough summer. Not only was it tough, it was mainly tough to eat healthy, because at that camp they didn't serve healthy food there. Like they only served food for little kids. They didn't serve like any like good protein at all, like good carbs, good veggies. Like they didn't serve any of that. So I had to like buy lunch from the cafeteria, and even that cafeteria didn't have the healthiest food. And sometimes I had to bring lunch, and yeah, it was just annoying because bringing lunch, you had to spend even more money, buying all that food and making it. It was just a pain in the ass trying to stay as healthy as I can the entire summer. Like obviously, when I would go home, I would work out for like an hour, so that kept me in shape. But it was so tough to work out like after a day at camp too, because after camp you're so tired, you just don't have any energy. So I just tried my best to battle through it, and luckily I did. Meeting the other counselors was great too. Obviously, some of my high school friends were there as well, and I also met a couple other kids that actually just graduated high school last this week. And I just met a bunch of other young kids who I think just have tremendous futures in school, and their careers and stuff like that. I mean, they're still in high school, but I just told them, hey, you have a tremendous future ahead of you. Just do not let anybody get to you. You don't let anyone talk to you. You do it on your own. You control yourself. Self-love is so important. Oh yeah, this one time I got kind of injured there. I was running back to my room, and I slipped on the wet floor, and I banged my right knee really, really hard, and it was bleeding. There was blood on the floor. That was not fun. My knee was red for like 2 weeks. It was that bad, but it wasn't like so bad where I obviously like couldn't run, but it was still kind of bad. I just like took a spill and landed directly on the floor. It was like ow. But yeah, that's my day at camp. Overall, it was really, really fun. I don't know if I'm gonna go back there, because I just don't think the pay is very, very good. But it is what it is. But I obviously did get a lot of experience from it that I can use on my resume. Working with 4 year olds, I know a lot of people. When they see that, they're gonna say, "Oh, that's really, really good." So that experience was definitely helpful. All right, now we can talk about my sleepaway camp, because oh my gosh, the 5 years total I was there, it was just an absolute wave of emotions. So year one, I went there as a 13-year-old going into eighth grade. I was on the older side, the teen side of camp, and I didn't really know what to expect. I went there and had a pretty good time. Like I think I was one of the youngest kids in my cabin, like the first half of that year. So that was kind of weird. Not weird. I thought it was good since I felt like I kind of get to learn some things from the older kids. But the first half of it didn't really go as planned that I would like to be. I was kind of getting bullied a lot. I met some kids that weren't really that respectful, even though the counselors and the division directors tried their best to discipline them. It really did not work out. But there were some points where I wanted to go home, and I even talked to my division director about it. Like, hey, I feel like I feel like I can't do this anymore, and feel like I just needed to get out of here and get a rest. But and then after talking to my parents, they convinced me to stay. You have to battle it out. You're there for the summer. We paid for that, so you have to try to make the most of it. And I agreed. So maybe once the half ended, maybe something could change. Oh ho ho ho! Things changed all right. That second half of the first year was absolutely unbelievable. I met some amazing people, especially in my cabin. I met some amazing people in the other guys' cabins, the girls' cabins, even, and it was just absolutely insane, and that's what convinced me to go back there for the next couple of summers. So year two, summer two, the following year, I'm going into freshman year of high school, and that entire year was just absolute chaos. That entire summer was just absolute chaos. The first session was okay. First session was okay, pretty chill. The second session is where things got crazy. You had a bunch of crazy kids coming into the older cabins and stuff like that, the girls' cabins as well. And yeah, I think it was just, oh yeah, and the whole year was just like a wave of emotions. I don't really, oh yeah, I do remember something I'm telling you in a sec, but it was just like a bunch of people. It was just like a bunch of singular people like causing trouble for the entire camp, and that was what was painful about it. Like the whole teen side got like lost privileges of like free time after evening activities and stuff like that because of like two people or three people that are like causing all the problems. It was just chaotic. But what I do remember from that year was that walking around during like quad time is our like free time like after evening activity. So I'm like walking around our main area, and then I walk to our gazebo, and I walk in there and I see about maybe 7 to 8 couples all making out at the same time, and my head just spins like crazy. My head just absolutely spins like crazy. I could not believe what I was seeing. I just immediately walked out of there, and as I walked out of there, I was actually dizzy. Like I'm literally not lying. I was like dizzy from what I just saw from right there. No, that because like that was crazy. It was like everybody there was in some kind of relationship, and it wasn't even like a real relationship or something. I mean, some of them were, but some of them didn't even last like till after camp. I think like maybe no, yeah, that second summer, I don't think any of those relationships like still lasted after camp. Like they were only there to be with their partners during that summer, which I thought was kind of bullshit because I feel like relationships are meant to be like lasted forever. But yeah, I still even that year I met some amazing people that year that I still talk to. I mean, do I? I don't even know if I. But yeah, even that year, I still met some amazing people that I still talk to today. Even my first year, I still keep in touch with. My first year was 2017, so 7 years ago today, and I still keep in touch with those people. It's pretty incredible. But what I was gonna say is that there was this girl that was really really pretty. We were obviously great friends during the summer, but like this guy, but this other guy like kind of just was with her, but like the guy didn't even like her as a girlfriend. He just wanted to hook up with her and stuff like that, and I thought that was so bullshit. Like I literally could have taken her for myself, and she lives in Philly. That's like not far from here at all. So who knows what we could have been, to be honest with you. But those 2 years, I obviously met people from all over the country. Oh, I forgot to mention, you meet people from all over the world too. Like I met this one girl from Switzerland. She used to live in France, but she lives in Switzerland now. Oh my gosh, she is just unbelievable. And I even still try to keep in touch with her today. Obviously, she's busy as hell, but I still snap her. And I mean, she lives in Europe, so it's a completely different time zone. But it's crazy how I even still have her snap, to be honest with you. But yeah, I've met people from all over the world. Met people from Spain, Russia, France. Those are like the main countries. The Spain and France are like the main countries that I've met people from, and those people are kind of crazy. Oh yeah, and there's also this other girl that I met that I try to still talk to today. She lives like way out west. She lives in like the Wyoming, Montana, Utah area. And I feel like that's just really cool because like what she does is she kind of like makes Western materials, if you know what I mean. Like she makes like boots, saddles, and a lot of those things like that. And I just think that's really cool. Oh yeah, I also feel like the internationals are the ones to like cause the most trouble. Like I remember in my first year we had a lot of Spanish kids. We had a lot of Spanish kids in my cabin, and oh my god, they were like they were nice, but they just caused so much trouble for no reason. And one of them got yelled at because I mean, so you're not allowed to have your phone there like at all. And one of them had their phone, and the division director found out, and he got punished. He had like no quad time for like 5 days, and like every morning he had to like get up early and sweep the cabin. Like that's how bad it was. Like if you get caught with your phone there, you're gonna get punished. I didn't even talk about the fact that the division director I had all 4 years is like he is such a kind human being, but if you get on his nerves, it's almost like the end of the world, if you know what I mean. It's bad. You do not want to piss him off. It's not good when you make him mad. All right, I've already talked enough about the first 2 years. Let's talk about year three. Summer three, first session. First session was okay. Had a bunch of crazy kids in there. The second session was probably the toughest session of the entire like summers I was there. Like those were probably the toughest 2 weeks of like all the summers I was there, because I had great counselors. Like I had last year's counselor of the year because of, oh my gosh, scratch that. Before we talk about year three, and I'll obviously get into year three very very soon, but I forgot to mention that the second half. The reason why it was so crazy is simply because of one guy's cabin. It was the youngest guy's cabin, and they caused problems for literally the entire camp. It was horrible, and I felt so bad for the previous guys that were there, because they wanted to move into our cabin and they couldn't because they were leaving at the end of the session. But it was so bad. And the one of the counselors in that cabin won counselor of the year that year because of what he had to go through. He had to go through probably the worst cabin I've ever seen. No, not the worst cabin I've ever seen. I think year three for me, my cabin session 2 was worse for what he had to deal with. And that is where year 3 finally comes in. Like the reason why the second session was so hard is because you had the kids in my cabin were just not respectful at all. Like they didn't really respect each other. They didn't really, respect they didn't really respect the women in the other cabins. They didn't respect their counselors. And keep in mind, and I tried their best. I tried my best. I tried my best to convince them, hey, please stop. You're going to get yourself in trouble. And it just didn't budge. And thankfully, I had last year's counselor of the year in there. So the fact that he had to deal with the worst cabin last year, and one of the worst cabins this year says a lot to the job well done he did for just kind of surviving. You know what I mean? But yeah, that was another one of those sessions where I just wanted to go home. I just couldn't wait. I just couldn't wait for the second session to, or not the second session, the second half. I just couldn't wait for the second half to arrive because, it was like all my better friends were coming, and it was going to be a good time. But I remember the last night of the first half. I was trying to go to sleep, and I couldn't, because all the guys were just making a ruckus and they just would not stop. So what the senior staff did was, they brought all of us outside the cabin, and we we sat on the grass. We sat on the wet grass for about maybe 45 minutes, and then we went back in and we slept. But the reason why I thought that was so unfair is because they brought out the whole cabin. No, they didn't leave me out. They brought out the entire cabin. Even the people that weren't doing anything, and that was painful because I just wanted to go to sleep. I just wanted to get a good night's sleep, and that was really, really tough. Obviously the people from other cabins could see us. They were probably laughing at us. It was crazy, and it wasn't even just our cabin that got called out. It was other cabins as well. I think there were girls out there too. Like some girls got called out, and they sat out there for the time. And were there any other guys' cabins? I think there were. I just don't remember. Yeah, that was one of those days where it was just like, oh my gosh, come on, second session. Come on, second half, I meant. Just come through for me. And thank the Lords, the second half of my third year was so chill. It was just so fun. The vibes were immaculate. I saw my best friends. I saw, the people that I liked the most. It was just a great time. I think there was just a different energy in the cabin that, the entire previous cabin was gone. The new kids came in, and the energy just shifted. It was incredible. Oh yeah, I didn't even mention my sleepaway camp Olympics yet. Our Olympics are crazy. It's really, really competitive, and fortunately I was able to win two of the 3 years I was there. It's 8 teams, different countries, and my team, I was Italy. My first year back in 2017, we somehow won the whole thing. I don't even know how. After I thought we choked the closing ceremony event, and then I was Argentina, year 3, and I it was so nerve wracking because we were in the lead. We were actually in the lead like the entire day. My third year was only one day compared to my previous two, which was a night and a full day. But third year, we were in the lead the entire time, and it was so nerve wracking because I thought somebody caught up to us. Like I thought the second place team caught up to us. Fortunately, they did not, and we came out on top. That was more satisfying than the Italy win. And finally, year 4 comes around, and there wasn't really much in year 4 because it was the COVID year, so we couldn't really do much at all. It was only 6 weeks compared to 8 the previous 3, and our cabins were very, very small. We had to separate ourselves because of stupid COVID. It was pretty chill. I had great counselors, and I even met some new people. That no internationals, sadly, because COVID, so stupid. But it was great, and a lot of us guys, we vibed to Juice World a lot, which was a lot of fun. Yeah, those 4 years at a sleepaway camp definitely changed my life. That place holds a special place in my heart, and I'll never forget it. Okay, but then we get to when I worked there as a counselor, and this was crazy because I thought, going into it, I thought I was going to absolutely kill it and make a huge difference. It was a lot tougher than I thought it would be. Obviously, because I was not used to it, I didn't have a job similar to that like at all. I mean, obviously, I was there the 4 years, but as a counselor, I just was not used to it. I thought I was, but I was not. I was only there for like 6.5 weeks because I had to go to LSU. After my first 4 weeks, I was there with about maybe 7th to 8th graders, and my last in my last 2.5 weeks, I was there with like 9, 10 year olds. The 9 to 10 year olds were definitely better. The reason why the 9, 10 year olds were a lot better was because I really got a chance to teach them ways about life. Like I always intend to teach kids about life, and a lot of those kids got along really, really well, and they were very, very sweet. There was even this one kid that was like homesick for like 7 days for like a full week, and we tried to convince him, hey, try new things, and he wouldn't budge. And then finally, he got over it, and he was like crying that he was going to go home, which was, I think that's what it's all about. Kids will often get homesick when they're at camp. Like I got homesick as well. It's all about trying new things, and I'm a guy that loves to try new things, and I'm also a guy that loves to tell people to try new things as well. And when we convince this kid that, hey, it's not all bad. You're here for a reason. You're here to have fun, try new things. And he got over his fears. That was incredible. Working as a counselor, the first, 4 weeks of it, it was tough because I obviously wasn't used to it. And I even got sick at one point. I even got sick for like 4 or 5 days, which was just not fun. And there was even a time I was sick and I was the only counselor in the cabin for that day, which was definitely one of the toughest days there. We have days off where we can just like go out to anywhere we want. We get Airbnbs and stuff like that. And I have a little story of a day off that I had. It's like me and about 25, 30 of us. We go to an Airbnb at about maybe 10 minutes away from camp, and it's a vibe. We're having fun. We're watching TV. There's music, and personally, like I didn't really know like a lot of the other counselors there. I only really knew like my co-counselors and about maybe five others that were there the entire time. So the whole time I was basically on my Nintendo Switch playing Smash Bros. It was kind of lame, but I mean it was really the only thing I could do. So 1 a.m. or so, I find this bed that I decide to sleep in, and one of the other guys like comes in and starts sleeping next to me. And I mean he's obviously far away from me, but and it was really, really uncomfortable because I was sleeping in my clothes and sweating, and it was really uncomfortable because I'm not usually, sleeping like this. But that was that. I slept for about 2.5 hours, and I wake up to oh yeah, and then I wake up to some moaning sounds, and then the bed next to me was like banging. I heard this for about maybe 2 minutes, and after that, I heard the moaning and the bang of the bed for like maybe 2 minutes, and then after I couldn't take it anymore, I rushed up the stairs, even without my glasses too, and I just couldn't move after that. Like I was just so stunned, like at what just happened to me. Like they were that disrespectful enough to disrespect my sleep. I can't even speak right now about this. But that was crazy. That whole night was just absolutely crazy. And then what's even worse is that I couldn't find a place to sleep, like at all, since all the sleeping spots were taken. So I ended up sleeping in the back of my car. The sleep situation there was just horrible. That was a tough night. I only got like 4 hours of sleep in the back of my car. So yeah, that's one of the main things I remember about working there as a counselor, just that day off and just the craziness of working as a counselor. You have to deal with the kids who sometimes won't behave very well. And you just gotta try your best to discipline them, and it's not the easiest part, but it's not easy. But obviously, still have a lot of experience from it, and that's the most important part of it, which is experience, which you can use on resumes for jobs going forward. So I also wrote down here my biggest fears. So let's talk about my biggest fears, and I feel like you guys can relate to this as well. So I wrote down here letting someone or a group down, realizing fake friends and traitors. I think letting someone or a group down is probably the biggest one on here because you obviously don't want to upset anyone, and if you do, you just feel like you made such a huge mistake that it may cost you like dearly It may cost you a friend. It may cost you, it just may cost you like something. And I just feel like you just have to be really, really careful with your actions. Like, obviously, you can't be sorry. Like that's something I also have to stop doing, is feeling sorry for myself. And, obviously don't regret any of the actions you do. But at the same time, I just have to be really, really careful with all the actions I do, because obviously I don't want to let anyone down, or I don't want to make, anyone feel uncomfortable or something like that. Realizing fake friends. I mean, I think this just relates to, losing trust in someone, not really, or they're not really trusting you. They're just not there for when you absolutely need it. Like, I saw something from Theo Vaughn yesterday. He said the thing about being alone is that it's not like you feel like you don't have anybody. It's feel like nobody has you. So, and obviously I am alone. I am lonely a lot of the time. And yeah, sometimes some of my best friends are just like not really there, or like some of the friends I love a lot are just not there when, I ask them to be. And that's why I think realizing, having fake friends is one of my biggest fears. But then I also have traitors. I think these are just people who, just deceive you, just befriend, unfriend you for no reason. Just think, I mean, I understand everything happens for a reason, but sometimes that's not always true. I have, I do have people who have, just betrayed me for absolutely no reason. And, I'm still trying to find out why, but at the same time, I don't want to, because, it's their loss. It's never my loss. It's always their loss, not mine. Because if you unfriend me, you're probably not going to get me back. So, and I do have a little story of this one friend who betrayed me in the worst way possible. It's funny because we actually met on Tinder, which is hilarious. I met this girl on Tinder, and then she added me back on Snap, but then we didn't see each other until like 3 weeks after we met. We saw each other at one of the bars, and that first conversation was just so engaging, man. It was just that first conversation. I'll never forget it. I mean, obviously, I don't remember what she said, but the way she was talking to me, which was just like, this could be the start of something. This could be the start of a great friendship, because it wasn't going to be in a relation. It wasn't going to be a relationship because, she had some other guy problems too. She was dreaming of to be on like an MLB wife or something like that, which is kind of awesome. Um, but yeah, I sensed that this was going to be like a great, friendship of mine. And then ever since we talked, and then ever since we had that really engaging conversation at one of the bars, it was just unbelievable how much we spoke to each other. I think we talked like the most, by far the most out of anybody, I spoke to during that stretch of time before she betrayed me. And it wasn't, and we obviously talked a lot during the rest of that semester, but when we really started talking was over winter break. Over winter break was the time when we really got to talk for like hours and hours and hours. And it was just unbelievable. I'll never forget like the kind of person she was, and she was so kind-hearted. She was she was a yapper, and that's what it's. And I obviously love people like that. I love people that'll just keep conversations going when I'm struggling to keep it going. And yeah, but the reason why I felt like she betrayed me is because, but before we get to that, I just do want to say that the conversations kept going, throughout the start of the last semester. She introduced me to her roommates, and she had like a bunch of other friends that I knew as well. So it was awesome. But the reason why I felt like she betrayed me was because there was one day where she told me that I don't think she could talk to me anymore because she started talking to this other guy, and the other guy turns out to be on the football team. And then I was just like kind of stunned for a little bit. It was just kind of like, what do you mean? If I lose you, I lose like a big piece of my life. She couldn't really do anything about it because he was like kind of demanding. He was like, demanding her to stop talking to me. And it was horrible. I thought this fear wouldn't come true. It did when she unadded me. And that's when I realized, like one of my biggest fears would be traitors. I don't know if she tried to convince him or not, but it obviously didn't go her way. And then we didn't talk to each other since. And I got so mad that I told a lot of people of what happened with me and her. And yeah, I just felt like she betrayed me in the worst possible way. And after that, I told a lot of people, which I shouldn't have done, and I regret that. But I saw her in the dining hall, and she gave me a really dirty look, and that's when I knew you just got to be really careful with your actions, because you don't want to put yourselves in these situations, um, where you feel like, somebody's going to betray you and something like that. Because I did not expect it. I did not expect it at all. She was just an amazing person, an amazing friend to have, and the fact that this happened so suddenly is just I I have to just make sure it doesn't happen to me again, because it still haunts me to think about this day. Obviously, I have to let it go, but I mean, I have let it go, obviously, but it's still, but still, it haunts me to this day. Like, you have a best friend that betrays you, it's still gonna haunt you. But again, it's her loss. It's never my loss. It's her loss, period. All right, now that that's out of the way, we can do a little bit of sports talk. The Celtics, they won the NBA championship. It was just an absolutely dominant run throughout the entire playoffs. I understand the Eastern Conference was banged up as hell, and even Luka Doncic was banged up a little bit too, but they just absolutely took advantage of it, and they absolutely dominated. Jaylen Brown is the main piece of that team. I think he's their best player. Jason Tatum is the second. He had an amazing postseason as well, and obviously he's the youngest player. He's like the youngest player since like Kobe to win a championship at like age 26 or something, which is just insane. And that team's going to be around for a long time, because I don't like who's leaving. Who's leaving that team next year? Like, I don't think Drew Holiday's leaving that team. I don't think Derek White's leaving that team. I don't think Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis are leaving that team. Sam Hauser, Peyton Pritchard, and even other bench guys like Luke Cornett and Xavier Tillman. That team's still going to be there next year, and I think they're going to be the favorites to win it all again next year. But hey, New York Knicks are coming for that. Don't sleep on those Knicks. They're coming for it. I'm saying it as a biased Knicks fan, but I really think that the Knicks could give the Celtics a run for their money if fully healthy. We weren't healthy at all last season. But other news around the NBA: Josh Giddey gets traded to the Bulls for Alex Caruso. That boosts the Thunder so much. You don't realize how much better the Thunder are going to be next year, now with the addition of one of the best defensive players in the league in Alex Caruso. Jalen Williams and Alex Caruso out there together, oof, it's going to be a hard time scoring against them, and with Chet Holmgren protecting the rim. JJ Redick, the new head coach for the Los Angeles Lakers, I just hope he doesn't fall into this trap where, he does kind of poorly and the fans get on him, like really, really get on him, and he gets fired like within a year or two, like Darvin Ham did. And I understand Darvin Ham was shit, but I felt like you could have given him maybe a couple more years to prove himself. So I just really hope, JJ Redick working with LeBron and AD, they just work it out. Like compared to their past coaches they've had, they're winning games like solely based off of talent, not coaching. So what's going on in Major League Baseball? Well, I feel like it's every division, like every leader atop of the division has like a sizable lead on the division. Like the Guardians have a 7.5 game lead on the Twins. Mariners have a 7-game lead. Oh my God. If they choke that division, that's going to be haunting, because I don't think they make the playoffs if they choke that division. So that's going to be haunting. The Phillies, 7-game lead over the Braves. Brewers, 5-game lead over the Cardinals. And the Dodgers, 8-game lead over the Padres. And really the only division that is tight right now is the AL East, with my Yankees only half a game and a half ahead of the Orioles. That is anybody's division. And We've lost 2 series with the Orioles so far, so we have to win the next one. So that's going to be one of the biggest series of the year that'll definitely determine the East. Oh yeah, and I saw the standings of the National League. If you look at the NL wildcard standings, there are like 9 teams, 10 teams competing for the 3 wildcard spots. It is absolutely bananas. Like the Pirates are in there. Like even the Mets are in there. I think at the top it's like the actually let me pull up the standings right now. So the wild card race is the Braves at the top, the Cardinals followed by the Padres, and then it's the Diamondbacks, Pirates, Nationals, Cubs, Mets, Reds, and Giants. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 teams fighting for those 3 NL wildcard spots. That is crazy. I really just hope that race, comes down to like the final month or the final week of the season. That would be just absolute chaos. Oh yeah, I didn't even realize, but UEFA Euro 2024 is also going on. They're now in the final phase of their group stage matches. And I didn't even realize this event was going on until after it started. Like, I don't really watch a lot of soccer, but the only soccer I really, really watch is the World Cup. And I remember 2 years ago when we watched the World Cup, that was like the greatest World Cup ever, the greatest World Cup final ever between Argentina and France. But I just hope this tournament is as great as the World Cup was. I mean, obviously it's just European teams, but that's still good. That's still great. I think we'll see some great action, some great football, and hopefully we get a worthy champion. I just want to see some good soccer. I mean, I don't really know. Like, I hardly know any of the best players, but I just want to see some good soccer. And what would be the sports talk session without the Stanley Cup Final? Guys, I thought it was over. I literally thought the Stanley Cup Final was over after Game 3. But the Edmonton Oilers have battled back somehow and have forced a Game 7. And they're doing it with pace. The Panthers can't slow them down. Panthers can't slow them down now. And Sergei Bobrovsky is turning into Swiss cheese. Like he's choking. He's allowed 12 goals in the last 3 games. The first 3 games he only allowed 4. He has to step up in the biggest game now. I mean, obviously, it's a Game 7 for the Stanley Cup, so you just throw out all the coaching adjustments because it just comes down to one game. I mean, obviously, if the Panthers choke this, I think it's going to be one of the biggest collapses in sports history. But at the same time, it's going to be one of the greatest comebacks in sports history if the Oilers do end up winning. Connor McDavid will get his ring. Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl will get their ring, which will just be incredible to see. I mean, McDavid already has a Hall of Fame career. I mean, add a Stanley Cup to it. That'll probably be like almost for certain. Man, the atmosphere in South Florida is going to be absolutely electrifying. That arena is going to be rocking, and hopefully we get hopefully we get one of the best hockey games ever. This is, I think, what was a boring Stanley Cup final has turned into one of the greatest. Has turned into in my opinion, one of the greatest ever. Just like the singular momentum swing of the Panthers having all that momentum in games 1, 2, 3, the Oilers 4, 5, and 6. So we'll see who takes back that momentum as it just comes down to one game for the Stanley Cup Monday night from South Florida. Either team is ending a 30-year drought. If the Panthers win, it'll be their first cup in their 31-year history. If the Oilers win, it'll be their first Stanley Cup in 34 years. It was back in like all the Gretzky days when they won those 5 cups in 7 seasons. So it's going to be incredible. Oh yeah, and I'm also doing like a vlog on my Snapchat story of the game. We're going to go through like the pregame and all that stuff, the all the goals, the end of period, and the end result. And hopefully you guys add my Snap and stay tuned for that. But yeah, there's something else I want to touch upon too. So this was like a month ago. This girl texts me, "You want to come over tonight?" And I say, "No, I'm back in New Jersey. You missed your chance while I was here." And then this guy takes her phone and then snaps me and says, "We're just fucking with you, little bro." And I recognize the guy as well. I don't know his name, but I recognized him. I've seen him. And then we get into this whole ass argument. I totally forget what we were arguing about. But then I tell him, hey, please stop bothering me. It's enough. And then he says, enough what? Bitches you haven't gotten? And then I respond to him saying they're not bitches. And then he responds to me saying, how's that kind gentleman nice self treating you? And then I respond to him, that's what's very, very sad about this generation today, and that's what I'm trying to talk about. It's the nice guys finish last thing. I don't know why. I don't know why it happens. It's very, very sad that this generation has that. It's the nice guys finish last. It's like people who are friendly, agreeable, and like that more gentleman like they tend to be more unsuccessful or like unsuccessful compared to other men that are like you know a jerk, a bad boy, an asshole, or something like that, because the nice guys are often overwhelmed or overshadowed by those those assholes. And it's, again, I don't know why it happens in this generation. I feel like it's just a discipline thing. I just feel like it's just like a mindset, that some of the women have. Like, if you're gonna choose, like that's really my message for all the women. Like, if you're gonna choose a man, he has to, he absolutely has to respect you 100% of the time. And if he's not gonna respect you, you should not date him, because you obviously don't want someone who's gonna treat you like shit or something like that. You know what I mean? And the fact that some women allow that to happen, or kind of like that, is very, very sad. And they're disrespecting themselves. I feel like they're kind of insecure, and they're not really trusting their gut, if you know what I mean. But yeah, that's something I quickly wanted to touch upon, something I quickly wanted to talk about. Like, I know I am going to be, I'm going to be a nice guy, and I'm just going to continue to just be respectful, be a gentleman, and, hopefully it works out in the end. I only disrespect the people who are disrespectful to me, and even then, I don't really disrespect them either. I just stay out of the way. But it's really all a discipline and a mentality thing, as it should be. All right, that is going to do it for episode 3. Once again, I apologize for the camera issues, how it freezes and lags and stuff like that. I promise you, I really don't know what's going on with that, and I'm getting a new webcam, so hopefully that'll be fixed. Like, I'm recording my outro right now, and the camera is absolutely fine, so I don't know what's going on with that. And I also apologize, we couldn't get a guest on here. There were just some complications with the originally scheduled guest I had. That person was busy and didn't even tell me that that person was working those days. And unfortunately, I couldn't find a backup. So we'll see if we can get a guest on the next episode. I do have someone scheduled, but you never know if that person is going to, cancel plans last minute. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.